Pay attention to the woman in the purple wear. It's 10:30 at night on a Thursday in October, Columbus, Ohio. Her name is Madison Brennan. She's 21 years old, pharmacy tech at Walgreens, wants to be a pediatric nurse. She's starting a jog she's done 1,000 times before, just never at this hour. Normally she runs at 6:30 in the morning, but tonight she worked overtime covering for a sick coworker. Now pay attention to man sitting on that car, but smoking a cigarette 3 blocks away from her apartment. His name is Kwame Mensah, Ghanaian immigrant, Amazon delivery driver. He's been watching Madison every morning, taking photos through his car window, learning her route, planning. For months, he drove to her neighborhood tonight and parked on her jogging route. He's been waiting. In 17 minutes, Madison will be gone. And when you see what her mother found on a neighbor's security camera, you'll understand why police should have listened on night 1. Madison lived with her mother, Karen, and her younger brother, Colin, in Clintonville. She'd been working at Walgreens for 2 years, saving money for nursing school. Every Thursday after her shift, she'd FaceTime her best friend, Sarah, and complain about their boss while eating Thai takeout. Sarah was supposed to hear from her Thursday night. She never did. That Thursday, October 26, Madison's coworker called in sick. Madison covered the evening shift. She texted her mom that afternoon. Working late tonight, gonna do my run when I get home. Love you. Every morning at 6:30, Madison ran the same loop through Clintonville. And every morning, Kwame Mensah drove past her during his Amazon delivery route. At first, he just noticed her. Then he started parking and watching her stretch, taking photos, creating fake accounts to follow her online, learning where she worked, where she lived, when she ran. He convinced himself they had a connection. On October 26, Kwame drove past Walgreens that morning. Her car wasn't there. That evening, he drove past again. Her car was still in the parking lot. She'd worked late, which meant she might go running tonight. At 10 that night, he drove to her neighborhood, parked on High Street in a section with fewer streetlights, sat on the hood of his car, lit a cigarette, and waited. At 10:30, Madison walked out of her apartment building, purple sports bra and matching leggings, AirPods in. She stretched against a lamppost, started jogging north on High Street. 3 blocks into her run, she approached where Kwame was waiting. When he saw her coming, he took one last drag, flicked the cigarette, jumped off the car hood, started jogging behind her. Within 2 minutes, he was beside her. She pulled out an earbud, startled. He said something. She shook her head, tried to keep running. He grabbed her arm. She pulled away. I don't know you. Leave me alone. He reached into his hoodie, pulled out a metal flashlight. As Madison turned to run, he swung it at the back of her head. She collapsed, unconscious. He picked her up, carried her to his car, covered her with his jacket. He drove away. 10 minutes later, they arrived at his apartment across town. 10:43, 16 minutes after she started her jog. Karen Brennan checked her phone at 10:55. No text from Madison. By 11:10, Karen called. It rang 4 times. Then someone declined the call. That was Kwame, looking at Madison's phone flashing Mom, while Madison's unconscious body was on his floor. Karen called again minutes later, straight to voicemail. Kwame had turned it off. At midnight, Karen drove to Walgreens. Madison's car was still there, keys in the ignition, purse on the passenger seat. Karen called 911. The dispatcher said, "Has it been 24 hours?" Karen said, "No, but she would never leave her car. Something is wrong." The dispatcher said, "Ma'am, she's an adult. If she's still missing in the morning, you can file a report." While Karen was being told to wait, this is what was happening at Kwame's apartment. He'd carried Madison inside minutes earlier, laid her on his living room floor, bleeding from the head wound, still unconscious. Kwame sat on his couch, lit another cigarette, stared at her, not panicking, just watching. Minutes later, Madison started to regain consciousness. She screamed. He moved quickly, covered her mouth. She fought back, scratching, kicking. He wrapped his hands around her throat, and he squeezed. Madison stopped moving. Kwame stood up, got cleaning supplies. Before midnight, he called Tyler Oching, his only friend in Columbus. "I need you to come over. Bring your truck. I'll pay you." Tyler arrived just before midnight. Tyler Oching, Kenyan immigrant. He and Kwame met at a church group 2 years earlier. When Tyler walked in, he saw Madison's body wrapped in garbage bags. Tyler said, "We need to call the police." Kwame said, "She's dead. If you call police, I go to prison forever. I'll give you $2,000. Cash. Right now." Tyler stood there, thinking about his mother in Nairobi who needed surgery, thinking about his rent. Minutes later, Tyler said, "Okay." After midnight, while Karen was being told to wait, Kwame and Tyler were carrying Madison's body to Tyler's truck. They drove to an industrial area. Just after 1 a.m, they threw Madison's body into a commercial dumpster behind an abandoned factory on Hamilton Road. Here's the critical detail. That dumpster was emptied every Friday at 6 a.m. The truck drove to Franklin County Sanitary Landfill, hundreds of acres. By sunrise, Madison was buried under tons of waste. And by the time police would search, 5 more days of garbage would be dumped on top. Now here's what you think happened. You think police found Kwame through detective work. Wrong. They found him because a mother knocked on dozens of doors in 2 days and refused to wait. The next morning, just hours after the dumpster was filled, Karen drives Madison's jogging route herself. On High Street, she finds Madison's AirPod case on the sidewalk. She calls 911 again. This time they listen. By that afternoon, police file a missing persons report. They find Madison's car. But police aren't treating this as urgent. Not yet. By Saturday morning, a day and a half after Madison disappeared, police hadn't searched anything. So Karen did it herself. She printed flyers, taped them everywhere, then started knocking on doors. "Have you seen this girl? Do you have a security camera?" One elderly man, Harold Chun, said his grandson installed a camera months ago. Karen asked to see Thursday night footage, and there she was. The camera footage shows Madison jogging past at 10:37. 8 seconds later, a male figure in a black hoodie jogs past. Fast, purposeful. Minutes later, the same male walks back. Then a gray Honda Civic pulls away. Karen takes a photo of the license plate. That evening, she drives the police. Shows Detective James Morrison the footage. He runs the plate. Kwame Mensah. Address across town in Hilltop. The next morning, Sunday, Detective Morrison goes to Kwame's apartment. Kwame answers. Nervous. Sweating. Morrison asks about Thursday night. Kwame says, "I was home all night." Morrison shows him Madison's photo. "Have you ever seen this woman?" Kwame stares too long. "No." Morrison says, "We have camera footage of your vehicle at the exact time she went missing. We need to search your apartment." Kwame says, "You need a warrant." They leave, and for the next 24 hours, Kwame cleans everything. 2 days later, Monday afternoon, forensic teams search Kwame's apartment. They find carpet shampooed recently. Overwhelming bleach smell. Madison's blood under the bathroom sink. Madison's phone in the kitchen trash. Madison's purple outfit in his bedroom closet. On Kwame's laptop, dozens of photos of Madison jogging, taken over months. On his phone, a note, Thursday, second shift, 10 p.m. In his trash, a receipt from weeks before. One item, heavy-duty metal flashlight. Wait, back up. That note on Kwame's phone? He knew Madison would be alone that night. He'd been tracking her work schedule. The flashlight was purchased weeks before. This was an impulse. Kwame Mensah had been counting down to Thursday, October 26. And when Madison walked past him at 10:37, he was ready. Kwame was arrested Tuesday evening, 5 days after Madison disappeared, charged with kidnapping and murder. Detective Morrison pulled phone records. Late Thursday night, Kwame had called Tyler Aching. Tyler was brought in for questioning the next day. Tyler lied at first, said he was home. Then Morrison showed cell phone tracking data. Tyler's phone was at Kwame's apartment just before midnight. Then at Hamilton Road after 1 a.m, right where they dumped the body. Tyler went quiet, asked for a lawyer. His attorney worked out a deal. 20 years instead of life. Tyler took it. Here's what Tyler told him. Kwame said, "It's done. I need you to help me move her." Tyler admitted he thought about the money, his family back home, his bills, and he said yes. They threw Madison's body in a dumpster behind an abandoned factory. That dumpster was emptied just hours later. The garbage truck drove straight to Franklin County landfill, an enormous site, hundreds of acres. And by the time police knew where to look, thousands of tons of garbage had been dumped on top of wherever Madison was. Before his lawyer arrived, Kwame said something to Detective Morrison that no one has been able to forget. Morrison told him, "We know where you put her. We're going to search that landfill and find Madison. We're going to give her mother closure." Kwame looked up. His face was blank. No emotion. And he said, "No, you won't." Morrison said, "We have dogs. We have ground-penetrating radar. We have time." Kwame said, "I went back." Morrison leaned forward. "What do you mean you went back?" Kwame said, "After Tyler left, I went back to the dumpster. I made sure you wouldn't find her, even if you dig for years." Morrison said, "What did you do to her?" And Kwame stopped talking. His lawyer arrived minutes later. Kwame never spoke about it again, but prosecutors found something. Kwame's credit card showed a purchase at a 24-hour Home Depot in the middle of the night, hours after Tyler left, for items: handsaw, heavy-duty trash bags, muriatic acid, concrete mix. The theory presented at trial: Kwame returned to that dumpster before sunrise, before the garbage truck arrived, and dismembered Madison's body, possibly used the acid to destroy identifying features, possibly mixed remains with concrete. They had no proof of what he did, but they had the receipt, and they had his words. "I made sure." The search for Madison began a week after she disappeared. Karen was there the first day, wearing a hazmat suit, gloves, mask, standing at the edge of an enormous landfill watching excavators dig through mountains of garbage. She would show up almost every single day for the next 11 weeks. Her son Colin joined her on weekends. Volunteers rotated through shifts. Cadaver dogs searched. Every time they hit on a location, excavation teams carefully uncovered the area. Every time, false positives, food waste, animal remains, not Madison. One afternoon in January, Karen thought she saw a purple fabric, the same shade as Madison's outfit. The excavation team spent hours carefully uncovering it. It was a child's backpack, frozen in the garbage. Karen collapsed right there. She was taken to the hospital for exhaustion. The search continued for weeks. They excavated hundreds of tons of garbage, sifted through it by hand, used every tool available. They never found Madison. Official determination: Madison Brennan's remains are in Franklin County landfill, location unknown. Kwame Mensah's trial began 8 months after Madison disappeared. The prosecution was led by Assistant District Attorney Michael Torres. The evidence was overwhelming. Camera footage showing Kwame following Madison, her phone and clothes found in his apartment, her blood in his bathroom, the laptop photos taken over months, the note, Thursday second shift, 10 p.m., the receipt for the flashlight purchased weeks before, Tyler's testimony about the dumpster, the Home Depot receipt for saw, acid, and concrete bought in the middle of the night. Kwame's own words: "I made sure." The defense argued no body means no murder. Maybe Madison is alive. Maybe she ran away. Maybe Tyler is lying. The prosecution's closing argument was direct. Kwame Mensah bought that flashlight weeks before he used it. He tracked Madison's work schedule. He knew when she'd be alone. He parked his car and waited for her. He attacked her. He killed her. He called a friend to help hide the body. Then he went back alone in the middle of the night with a saw and acid to make sure no one would ever identify her remains. This is not impulse. This is not passion. This is premeditated murder. And Madison Brennan deserves justice. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Karen sat in that courtroom the entire time, hands folded, not moving. When the foreman stood and said guilty, she didn't react, didn't cry, didn't smile. She'd already cried everything out in that landfill. This was just paperwork. Verdict: guilty. First-degree murder. Guilty. Kidnapping. Guilty. Abuse of a corpse. Sentencing: life in prison without possibility of parole. Tyler Aching pleaded guilty to accessory after the fact and obstruction of justice. At his sentencing hearing, he addressed the court. His voice was shaking. He said, "I think about Madison Brennan every day. I see her face every night when I close my eyes. I should have called 911. I should have saved her. I chose money over a human life. I will never forgive myself." The judge looked at him for a long moment, then said, "Your cooperation does not erase your choice. 20 years in prison, eligible for parole after 12. Tyler is currently incarcerated at Marion Correctional Institution. He writes letters to Karen Brennan every month, begging for forgiveness. She's never opened one. Madison Brennan would be 23 years old now. She'd probably be in nursing school at Ohio State. Maybe still doing those Thursday night FaceTime calls with Sarah, complaining about professors instead of bosses. Instead, she's somewhere under hundreds of acres of garbage at Franklin County landfill, and her mother drives her every other Sunday, parks her car, sits there for an hour, just to be close to her daughter. Kwame Mensah is in Mansfield Correctional, serving life without parole. He's never expressed remorse, never apologized. He told another inmate he did what he had to do. He's never told anyone what he did to Madison's body that night between the hours when Tyler left and the sun came up. Colin, Madison's younger brother, is 19 now. He volunteers with his mother's foundation, Maddie's Promise, helping other families search for missing loved ones, teaching them how to knock on doors and demand camera footage when police tell them to wait. He searches for other people's sisters because he couldn't save his own. And if you're wondering why I'm telling you this story, it's because a 21-year-old woman jogged past a predator at 10:37 on a Thursday night, and no one else was there to see it. Kwame Mensah made sure no one would ever find her body, but Karen Brennan made sure no one would ever forget her name. Remember Madison Brennan.